Mens kan die situasie in Zimbabwe in skokkende syfers weergee. Die rentekoers is 50%, inflasie 175%. Vanjaar reeds het die petrolprys met 'n skokkende 456% gestyg. Stort Zimbabwe alweer in duie. Ek gesels nou met die bekende Zimbabwiese aktivis en menseregteprokureur Coltart. Doug, welcome.
Thank you.
This new currency, the Zimbabwe dollar, back again, was introduced just a month ago. Did it come as a surprise, and how did it upset daily life?
Yeah, so it did come as a total surprise. It was announced and became enforceable on the same day, and it really has disrupted life a lot. The inflation has gone through the roof. I mean, inflation was already running rampant since January, but now we are breaking back into hyperinflation, at least for certain commodities, yeah, I mean we're seeing. Go ahead.
No, but are you seeing daily changes in prices of bread and things like that?
We are. So prices are still going up. They have stabilized a little bit, but at the moment, but they are commodity prices are something like 10 times what they were only a few months ago, but salaries haven't changed. So for example, for a government school teacher, their salary is now worth basically 3 bags of kapenta. Do you guys eat kapenta here? You know, dried fish, the most basic of protein. That's what a teacher's salary is worth. Prices are just through the roof.
And so we've also seen footage of fuel shortages, people queuing for hours and hours to get fuel. Why is there a shortage of fuel? I mean, there's no shortage in the region, so it's Zimbabwe that is not importing enough as a country.
Yeah, so the fuel situation is complex, but really at the heart of it, the fuel industry is controlled by a cartel that is linked to the regime. And has connections to the Reserve Bank as well. And basically, because the fuel market hasn't been liberalized, the whole market is throttled, and so there isn't enough fuel coming in.
But there was a subsidy that was withdrawn a few months ago, right? That led to riots in Harare and elsewhere.
Yes, so fuel was increased by about 150% in January, which led to protests. There was a brutal crackdown to that protest. Since then, fuel has actually gone up 6 times. So there's now been a 600% increase in fuel. So fuel keeps going up almost on a weekly basis now, but it doesn't seem to be dealing with the fuel shortage.
So things sound pretty rough for normal citizens, Doug, but if you're the president or the vice president, and you mentioned these cartels and the elite who benefit from this crisis, then things are not that bad. Constantino Chiwenga, the deputy president who played a key role to get rid of Robert Mugabe in 2017, he was flown to China for medical treatment recently. Is that because they want to hide the nature of his illness, or because there's no hospital in Zim that can treat him?
Well, none of our politicians ever get treated in Zim. That's the starting point. With Chiwenga, it's quite a complex case, and there are allegations that he may have been poisoned. There's a lot of infighting within the ruling party, within the ruling elite, even tensions allegedly between Mnangagwa and Chiwenga as well. We of course have the unsolved case of the bombing of Mnangagwa at a rally. There's allegations that may be linked to Chiwenga's faction or a different faction of ZANU-PF. So that, I think, is part of the seeking to bring in the Chinese to get to the bottom of actually what is wrong with him.
So around dinner conversation, when some of you are saying, yeah, things are terrible, and then somebody butts in and says, no, but look to this and that, because there are signs of hope. What could you point to say that there are signs of hope?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, things are very hopeless at the moment. But if we do look at what we can grasp on, in terms of change at the political level. It is encouraging that the opposition does seem to be consolidating. So the opposition party, the MDC, split in 2005, but have now reunited. So there's a single opposition party. Trade unions are kind of being rejuvenated, and particularly the civil service are now pressing for changes. And so there are some movements on the political front in terms of casting a vision for how we get out of this mess. But at the moment, it looks pretty dire.
But it's years until we get to the next general election, right?
Yes, it is. The next general election is only in 2023. A lot of people are wondering whether there'll be any country left by then. The opposition have now laid out a roadmap for what they're saying. They're saying that there needs to be some form of a transitional mechanism, where basically you're bringing in technocrats, you're bringing in different parties to basically for ZANU-PF to cede power to a more broader collective.
But
to
that's
try and resolve the crisis.
That's not the ZANU way, right?
It's not the ZANU way, but when pushed into a position, into a corner, sometimes it's the only way out. So in 2008, for example, Mugabe lost that election, refused to let go of power. The military were unleashed, similar to what we saw in January, but he was pressed into a coalition government, by the region. We could potentially see something like that happening if things continue to unravel. Very
quickly, this High Court judgment that found against the Herald and ZBC that said they were not impartial. Is that significant?
So I was actually the lawyer arguing that case. So it feels significant to me, and it is significant. It is significant symbolically in that it lays clear guidelines in terms of how the state media should act. Of course, it's a small little blip in a much larger system, and it remains to be seen whether that court ruling will be complied with, because I could list off 10 cases in the last year of important rulings that have just simply been ignored. So that really is the next hurdle we have to get over.
Coltart, thank you so much.